Good day, Doctor. We are from Group 11. In this assignment 3, we are going to study the case between Bank Pembangunan Malaysia Berhad and the defendants, which are Ibu Kota Realty Berhad and Chiak. Okay, so in our group, which consists of five members, Waichan, Sharon, Marbena, Zising, and Najmina, will be presenting to you about the case study 2. Good day, Doctor. My name is Yi Zising. Matrix number is 289801. To kickstart the case, I will be presenting the summary of the background facts. In this case, Bank Pembangunan Malaysia Berhad as the plaintiff gives the loan facility to the borrower, which is Ibu Kota Ductile Iron Pipe Industry Berhad, where it's supposedly there are two defendants warranties it. But unfortunately, the borrower defaulted, so Bank Pembangunan Malaysia Berhad extended the loan facilities. The loan facilities divided into two categories, which are term loan facility and credit facility. Under the credit facilities, there are three: term loan 1, which is called as TL1, term loan 2, TL2, and the revolving credit RC. Well, in this following slide, it shows the differences between the first facility and the second facility. The purpose of first facility is to finance the purchase of specific machineries and equipment, while the term loan 1 in second facility is to purchase the additional plant, machinery, and equipment. And the term loan 2 is to finance the cost of TNB power substation. And lastly, the revolving credit is to finance the raw materials. Maximum amount for first loan facility is RM 75 million, which is larger than second facility of RM 55.48 million. The total security documents executed in both facilities were different in one. In the first facility, the total is 17, while the second facility is only 16. The rate of interest payable for first facility is 0.25% higher than second facility. With the larger amount of loan amount and higher interest rate in first facility, it results in more installments have to be paid by borrower. Okay, so in the case borrower being extended in second facility, defendants decide to execute two joint and several guarantees agreements. Defendant 1, LKC, even executed the memorandum of shares in favor of Bank Pembangunan Malaysia. The CA, the Court of Appeal judgment, was obtained against the borrower and LKC jointly and severally, with specific amounts and interest rates for different facilities, which stated in the table in the slide. Despite the clear record of the judgment against LKC, the deponent for D1's, which is Defendant 1's affidavit, denied its existence. So the plaintiff's statement of account outlines the outstanding sum. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Wan Najibnawan Nasharuddin. We presented about the issue raised by the defendant. There are total 4 issues. The first is the lack of demonstration of ECOF calculation. The second is B, the failure to inform the defendant of ECOF interest changes rate. And the C, the appointment to liability and the security. And the D, the last thing, is the appointment of the receiver and the manager. To know about in detail, you can see in the next slide. There are 4 issues that raised by the defendant. First is the lack of demonstration of ECOF calculation. The defendant contend that plaintiff failed to demonstrate the principle, method of calculation, and the effective cost of fund ECOF rate in the notice of demand in the date 10 March 2017 to the borrower, which is the defendant. This suggestion the lack of the clarification of transparency in the communication, the basis for the demand and the communication in the date 16 May 2017. Okay, for the second issue is failure to inform the defendants of ECOF rates changes. The defendant assert that the plaintiff did not inform them of changes to ECOF rates, which allegedly occurred without their knowledge and consent. This raised a concern about defendant awareness and agreement to alteration in the interest rate impact their liability. Okay, we move to the next, which is the number 3 issue is apportionment of liability to other securities. The defendant agreed that their liability should be apportioned to other security held and realized by a plaintiff. This suggests a claim that the defendant's responsibility for the outstanding amount should be distributed based on the various security involved. For the last issue that raised by the defendant is appointment of a receiver and manager. The defendant claimed that plaintiff appointed a receiver and a manager and has not fully disposed of the security held. Consequently, the defendant agreed that plaintiff is precluded from filing this issue suit against them. This may implement the defendant belief that plaintiff action with the receiver and manager impact the current legal action.
Hello doctor, I'm Tan Rajan. So now I will present the third question, which is, does the plaintiff has the right to enforce the guarantee provided by the defendants due to the loan facility being in default? So the overview of this question is about the Bank Pembangunan Malaysia Berhad seeks to enforce guarantee by Ibu Kota Realty Sendirian Berhad, which is D1 and Lo Chia Hong as D2 due to a loan default. The plaintiff has a clear legal right to enforce this guarantee based on explicit agreements and independent security terms. For this question, it has 5 key points. The first one is about the explicit guarantees. Both defendants expressly guarantee the plaintiff's loans, serving as additional independent security beyond other rights or securities. The second one is about the autonomy in enforcement. Agreement allow the plaintiff to enforce guarantee without prior recourse to other security or legal proceeding against borrowers or related parties. The third one is about the uncontested default. The borrower default, leading to significant areas, was unchallenged by either borrowers or defendants. The number 4 is about the lack of resistance. The plaintiff's demand and termination notice were uncontested by the borrower or defendants, despite attempts to negotiate. The last one is about the release from obligations. The security agreement released the plaintiffs from the obligation to marshal assets for their benefit. We can conclude that the plaintiff's enforcement actions are justified by a clear agreement, uncontested breach, and compliance with legal terms. The plaintiff legitimately seeks to enforce guarantee based on the agreement and the breach, ensuring full compliance with the legal framework.
First of all, the fundamental right of the borrower to obtain accurate and trustworthy information about any changes to interest rate or other important terms of their loan agreements. In this specified case, it can be argued that the plaintiff violated their duty to disclose material information if they neglected to advise the defendant of interest rate changes. Violation of this kind will have a negative legal effect and damage the plaintiff's reputation. Given the defendant's limited awareness of interest rate fluctuation, they may have a good case to contest the plaintiff's activities, but it is imperative that the terms and conditions specified in the loan agreement are followed. It becomes crucial for the both parties to communicate clearly in order to prevent miscommunication or conflict. In a nutshell, if the defendant were not properly informed about changes in interest rate or other significant terms of the loan arrangement, they might have a good case to contest the plaintiff's conduct. It is critical to carefully consider all of the available data and evidence before making a final determination about the veracity of the defendant's claim. The case emphasizes how important it is for the borrower and also the lender to communicate well, since poor communication can have a big influence on the court decision.
Finally, the fifth question is to explain about the type of guarantee for Defendant 1 and Defendant 2 and their liability as principal debtors. For the types of guarantee, there are joint several guarantee and corporate guarantee by the defendants for Ibu Kota Ductile Iron Pipe Industry Sdn Berhad. Next is their liability as the principal debtor. The first liability is the agreement is to follow terms in the guaranteed documents. The defendants commit to following the terms outlined in the guaranteed document, establishing a contractual agreement and specific obligations throughout the guaranteed period. Next is direct and primary obligation to fulfill financial commitments in loan facilities. Acting as guarantors, the defendants bear the direct obligations, surpassing the role of a mere surety. The third is the guarantor's liabilities remain stable and unaffected by any changes, amendments, or renewals of the term loan facility agreement, maintaining their commitment as the principal debtors. The fourth is the liability for the guaranteed sum as principal debtors. Both defendants accept their direct liability as principal debtors for the entire guaranteed sum, showcasing a substantial financial responsibility beyond secondary surety roles. Finally, they are liable despite post-execution arrangements between the borrower and the bank. The guarantor's liability persists despite any arrangements, underscoring the lasting nature of their financial commitments. Thank you.